Hello everyone, this is Giant Orange and welcome to Pikes Part 2. Now usually when I do play Pikes I only use one Pike unit to protect my range units because that's what they are best at. But when I play those games it doesn't really highlight what Pikes can actually do. So I am playing 3 Pike units just to show what they are capable of when they don't bug out too much. And you'll notice I've already dropped shields on my first Pike unit. That's because I want to get in position as quick as possible with that one unit. See, with drop shields I might be able to advance quick enough to get into their long grass to put my Pikes down, and in that they won't expect that, and that will be easy points. But I do get hit by this cavalry unit here, but they eat shit because I put my Pikes down in time. So now they know my position, so when I advance I have to be ready to put Pikes down at a moment's notice. So I move this unit forward, get ready to see, if the minute I see any enemies I'll put my Pikes down. In that split second it's the difference between winning and losing as Pikes. And in these small corridors it's very hard to flank Pikes because they have such a wide formation. I could have made it even wider. So that's where they fight the best. Now the enemy knows this, that's why I think he retreated away from me. So you may have noticed I have my other 2 Pike units holding back. That's because Pikes don't work well as a group in these situations. And you'll see I just use my charge without having my Pikes down, because when you charge with your Pikes up they don't bug out as much. So I charged and then put my Pikes down, which did a lot of damage, but as you can see Pikes have weak morale because as far as they're concerned, even if they're winning the combat, they are still getting flanked and recharged, even though they're not actually getting flanked and recharged. You can see my previous video where I discussed that. So what I have learned is you get the first Pike unit to go up, wipe out a bunch. They retreat, then get your next Pike unit to move up and do the same thing. You just keep doing that. It's the easiest way. Now I do put my Pikes down in this bit and charge, which was a mistake on my behalf. Because as you can see it didn't really accomplish anything. A normal charge would have done much better in that situation. I should have just normal charged and then put my Pikes down. Because as you can see it didn't even kill that tiny little unit that I charged. So when I did that charge I actually opened myself up to losing another unit. Because I charged there and his spear units could have gone around the flanks and killed me. So that's why charges are just weak on Pikes. Sometimes, yeah, you might get that really great charge, but most of the time you're ruining your formation and you will die. So I'm chasing that unit down. I've got drop shields so I should be able to catch up to him, and I'm going to use a normal charge. This is a way you do charge. So as you can see I've charged and I know that I could beat this unit with any unit. And putting Pikes down would just risk that. So what I do is I charge in and fear him, and it will cause him to rout, and that's easy points. But if I put Pikes down, who knows what the fuck could happen. But one thing I could guarantee is they would rout, because they rout so much quicker when they have their Pikes down. Which I do explain in my previous video. And here you can see I did put the Pikes down on that other unit just to trim the back off. But unfortunately they decided to form up in a retarded formation, and you know, I don't even know what to say. Sometimes I really fucking hate Pikes, I guess. So here I am versing another Pike unit, and the idea is I get that front unit to engage, and then my other unit will trim the sides off. And what I should have done is not use Pikes on the second unit and simply ran around the back and then engage, because that would have made him rout pretty much instantly. Now if I was going for points I could have easily just got that second unit to run around and kill the catapults, but the whole thing is I'm trying to take out the biggest threat to me, and these catapults at the moment aren't a very big threat. But as you may have noticed there is a horse player on my right, and he's just waiting for me to get rid of these Pikes so he can come in and kill the catapult units. Like a fucking asshole. And yeah, there are those players out there that will be like, oh, I'm not going to help. I could easily wipe out those Pikes with you, but then I wouldn't be able to kill the catapult units for myself. So here you can see I did all that fucking work, you know, I got rid of that Pike unit, and then they take the points. So Yeah, that's the way it works, but I'll give an example. This guy is fucking brilliant. I had a game with this guy called Blue Parks, and what happened is I sacrificed 2 units so we could take out their artillery units. And instead of being a greedy cunt, he killed one of them, and then he just walked off and let me kill the other ones. He could have killed them a lot quicker, because I was almost dead at that stage. He had 3 full units, but he actually let me get those catapult points because he's seen how much fucking effort I went to get us in a position where we can attack the catapults. And that guy probably doesn't get that many points per game because he is too much of a nice guy. Like, that guy's a fucking legend in my eyes. I just could not believe that. That's the only time I've seen it. I don't even know if I could bring myself to do that. Where there's those easy fucking points and you just go, no, that guy deserves them. I'll let him get those points. He did all the fucking work. I'll let him get the points. That never happens. And that's the biggest thing I've ever seen happen. I've played 1,300 games, right? And the most fucking impressive thing to me was this guy that was like, you know what, man, you deserve those fucking points. I'm going to give them to you. I'm not going to. I'll take 1 unit because I'm, you know, I want some points for myself, but I'm not going to be a greedy cunt and take all those units. I was just amazed. I was fucking amazed. Could not believe that. That was the most amazing fucking thing I've ever seen in this game, to be honest. With someone just being generous, and I don't know. Like, it made me rethink how I play the game, because I do point whoring shit sometimes. I just go for points. But after seeing that, I just had to rethink the whole way I played. I just could not believe that. So you ever see the guy called Blue Park out there? And, you know, he doesn't have the highest fucking points. That cunt is still good. He is a fucking awesome dude, man. Like, that's the most impressive player I've ever seen in this game. I really wish I did record that game, because he did support me as well. Like, after that, we killed the catapults, we went down the hill, and then we ran into other pikes, and then it was pike vs pike, and then he kind of, I can't even explain it. That guy's fucking brilliant. He actually supports pike units properly. Like, he doesn't just try to charge through you. He waits until your pikes are up or you're bugged out, and then he supports you, or as he goes around. This is fucking awesome. Basically, I need the replay, but the replay is fucking lost in history, I guess. It's just, that was about, who knows, 30 games ago. And that's one of the biggest drawbacks of this game, is it's a point system, but, you know, playing great doesn't mean you're getting a lot of points. Because in that game, what ended up happening, how he lost his units, and he only ended up with like 2k points, right? Is he didn't get greedy and take the siege points, which he could have easily done and got like 3,000 points. But instead, he moved into a better position to stop any enemy forces retaliating against us while we killed those artillery units. And then when he saw the pikes, he let me go forward, and then I put my pikes down to engage them, and then he chased away the ranged units. It was just fucking brilliant. Like, it was just great play. And if you ever see my Slingers video, Laddie and Wolf, I always queue with him. Because he's one of those players where he will do as much as he possibly can to help you. So in that Slingers video, you can see I got a shit ton of points because I was relying on him to help me. And then the next game we went into, he got like 7,000 points because I was doing the same for him. I was supporting him more than he was supporting me. I was going up buffing him. I was going up, you know, helping him as much as I possibly can. And that's the way, when you queue as a team, you can kind of feed off each other. But anyways, moving on from that, I am playing pike, 1 pike unit and 2 archers in this game, which I consider the strongest pike combo at the moment. And it's much more simple. You're only having to control 1 pike unit. That's the thing about pikes. The more pikes you have, the more you have to worry about, basically. The more that's distracting you, the more units that won't work properly. Because when you're playing pikes, you have to make sure they're doing everything fucking right. Everything has to be perfect. So if you have 2 pike units, you're doubling the the amount of units you have to fucking babysit at all times. If you're playing 3 pike units, holy shit, you have to babysit, you have to fucking, snort some fucking cocaine, get some speed or some shit to actually be able to keep up with how much shit you have to pay attention to. Because when you're playing pikes, not only do you have to worry about the enemy, you also have to worry about your allies. So it's not, 10v10 anymore, it's fucking 1v20. Because your allies can fuck you over. So you have to watch your pikes at all times. And with 1 pike unit, easy. 2 pike units, yeah, alright. 3 pike units, holy fuck. So anyways, back to the gameplay. So I'm just using my archers to bait them in as much as I can. And you can see they did fall for it. He has engaged with my pikes in that area. And the reason I just run off now, I just get the hell out of there, is because he's trying to surround my pike unit. Because he knows that if he does manage to surround them, I am dead. And it's lucky that happened because the little blimp, yeah, there we go. So that little blimp did come up on my screen. I was like, oh shit. But see what happened there? His curve bugged out. Like, sometimes when you charge with curve, it doesn't actually charge. I'm pretty sure that's what happened to him, and that's a lifesaver for me. But that's one thing, if you do, that's it only happens to curve mostly. Well, I guess it's more important to curve. You line up this fucking great charge, and then your unit is like, nuh-uh. No, I'm not fucking charging. And then they still use the charge up. It's not like you can charge straight after. They're like, oh, we will count that as a charge, even though they didn't charge at all. So anyways, I do go in. I don't put my pikes down. There's too many allies in that scenario. So I just go in and make that unit rout. So I feel like I am pretty safe at the moment with my archers. And that's the thing. I don't go in with my pikes unless it's a guaranteed kill. Because I'm opening my archers up to so much pain by doing that. So they have to be safe. My pikes are there to babysit my ranged unit. So as you can see, I'm using the advantage of not being in the tower's vision. That's what I was doing. I was in the forest, they can't see me. And every time they try to advance, I just pop shot them. And that's pretty much it. If they didn't advance, then we're at a standstill, motherfucker. Because that's what towers do. They make it so defending is so fucking strong, it's hard to advance on them. And yeah, it just ends up a standstill. There's no point going in because you will most likely lose. So you stick back and then you end up with these long games where no points are actually made by anyone. But luckily they are so spread out. Even though they're all defending, they're so spread out. And they're not supporting each other. They're not moving at all. They're just, this is where we are standing and that's it. So we managed to get their tower and now we can just rain down hell upon them. And if they do try to advance with like 1 or 2 units, my pikes can just put their pikes down. That's going to at least delay them, if not kill them. And see the position that Cowpop was in? That's a horrible position. Because if you are that close to a cliff, it screws your range up and you might not be able to shoot in areas you should be able to shoot in. If you have it slightly back, then you have a lot more area to use with your catapult unit. So pretty much what I'm saying is he's getting a lot more grey circles than he is green circles, and that's not what you want. Now I make a massive amount of errors after this, because, okay, so there's some easy points lying around, I don't see many ranged units, and I get overconfident, and that bites me in the ass. Like, oh, okay, I'm in a good position, I have a fair amount of points, but then overconfident bullshit kills me, basically. You'll see it in the minute. So one thing about pikes, they're easy points for ranged units. Even if you have raised shields and all that, look at that, doesn't really matter. At least not for tier 4 and tier 5 units. It doesn't really matter that you have your shields raised. I'd rather just drop my fucking shields. At least I've got speed then. You know? You just don't do anything really. Unless you've upgraded it heaps. doesn't do shit, if you ask me. That's why, even if you are defending, you have to be non-static. You can't just stand there and fucking take a walloping. Because you will still die. Unless you're heavy tier 9 swords. And then you can laugh that shit off, but at lower tiers, no. You can't just fucking set up your pikes there with raised shields and expect them not to die. They will. See the damage that guy was taking. And plus, even if you do raise shields on pikes with Leonidas or Miltiades, it doesn't fucking matter because it only blocks the front. So all I have to do is separate my ranged units, shoot you from 2 different sides, they're dead. And yes, there are certain circumstances where that's beneficial. Anyway, back to the game. So I thought I was only getting shot at by 4 ranged units, and my ranged units are on more health, and I had my pikes with their raised shields thinking they'll block most of the damage. But I was a fucking idiot, because what happened is I went in there, raised my shields, thought I'd take out the other ranged units pretty easy, and I was taking that massive damage. I thought, oh, they got broadheads, so that's 5 shots and then I'll win. But no, I was getting rained on by the top as well. And when you have higher terrain as archers, you do more damage, and that's what really fucked me over. So I can only really blame myself for that one. I underestimated the opponents. I thought we had this game in the bag, and it cost me. It cost me a fuck ton of units. And that doesn't really matter at low tiers, because it's so easy replenishing all your consumables and your units, because they're cheap. But at higher tiers, if you made that same mistake, you will get punished for that. That's a fuckload of silver you have just lost out on. So back to the game, you can see we surrounded that archer unit. He's dead, so there's one archer unit out of the way. But back to high tiers and their silver cost. So what you end up seeing at higher tiers is people are just focusing on their own points. When they're solo queued, when it's group queue, it's a totally different story. But when they solo queue, they want 6k points, they want 5k points. Because without those amounts of points, they lose too many guys, and it costs too much to replenish them. So they go into point farming mode. They will take as many points as they can get, even if their team suffers, because it takes so much to replenish those units. And while tier 9 units should be the frontline units, they usually hang back a bit, because they feel like, well, okay, your tier 5 units die, you only have to pay a certain amount of silver, it's fuck all. My tier 9 units go in there, tier 10 units go in there and get blown up by catapults, it's going to cost me a fuckload. So I'll wait for you to go in, and then I'll come in and get the points. And one reason this game suffers is because CA has this thing where they over-nerf. That's their way of fixing problems. Oh, this unit's strong, let's over-nerf. And what I mean by that is, look at Caesar. So, okay, he was really good. But then, let's fucking nerf everything. Let's just fucking nerf the shit out of him. Why couldn't they just remove the damage bonus to ranged units, that 10% damage bonus, and then leave the rest pretty similar? Instead they're like, no, if Caesar gets in combat in any way, shape or form, or if he gets even hit by an archer unit, most of his abilities get cancelled. That's a fucking nerf. But why did he need to get nerfed that much? It's the same thing with Miltiades. Drop shields and fear together were really strong. And only one really needs to get removed, which is most likely fear. But let's just fucking nerf drop shields and fear, and then make him way weaker than the other commanders. And that's what I'm afraid of with pikes. Okay, so they have these bugs, etc. But instead of just fixing them, leaving their stats the same but fixing their bugs, they might just be like, here's a shit ton of stats. And that's not how you fix problems. Like, you need to, like, look at, I don't want to say World of Warcraft, but look at fucking World of Warcraft. Slight buffs here and there, have all these patches where there's slight changes to see where exactly you want those units, and then once in a while you have a big one. So that way Blizzard can look at it and go, okay, we need to change this to make it more balanced. Like, we need slight changes here and there to make it balanced for that season. And then we'll release a new big change for the next season, which will fuck things up again, and then we will slightly change units all over again. That's how they do it. And it's not a perfect system, but I think it's better than the one we currently have, where it's just like over nerfs, over fucking bastards, over everything. It's just too big. They're making too many moves in a small amount of time. And who is testing this stuff? Like, apparently we are meant to be testing this stuff. But it's pretty fucking hard to test when things change drastically every patch. So your point of view is this, and then they make massive changes instead of just small changes to try to balance it. They make these massive changes, and then you have to test every fucking unit again. You know, it's hard to balance a game when drastic changes are made 24/7. And then when you get the patch notes, it doesn't explain the patch notes as what actually happens. Like, okay, that quick march thing, they said, here's a buff to quick march, it increases your speed now. They left out the whole fucking bit where it changes your formation. They leave out all these fucking things in the patch notes. So you go in there and you think you're doing an honest test, and then you have to spend fucking a month figuring out all these secret changes they did without telling you. Anyway guys, before I rant on for 10 years, I think I'll just end the video there. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and thumbs up. And until next time, enjoy your gaming.